Hello everyone and welcome back. In one of the previous videos I showed you how to build a deep learning model for skin cancer detection from skin images using transfer learning. We used, if I remember correctly, we used Cirrus Next 50 and we built a model, we trained the model, we added augmentations and we tried to improve on the model results and we generated some predictions. But that's all we did. So we had everything in our local machine and it generated the predictions in the end. But creating the model is one thing and building an application to serve the model is another thing. So what do I mean by that is like building an application is better because then it helps you to showcase your project to others. So people who are not familiar with different kinds of technical stuff, they can still use your deep learning models. So in this video, if you have not seen the previous video, I would highly recommend you to go take a look at it, because here I'm not going to train the same model again, obviously. So in this video I'm going to use Flask and I'm going to show you how you can build this web application where you can upload an image, you can save the image, and then you can generate predictions and return it back to the user. So let's see how it's done. So we have our this api.py here, and we have, so you can see a bunch of new files. We have already seen this main.py that we built last time. We used torch, we use augmentations, pre-trained models, and wtfml. So we're not going to change a lot of things in here. I mean, we just need one function, that's it. So we have this new file called api.py, and we have two new folders, template and static. So when you're building a Flask app, you have to remember that all the HTML files go inside templates, and static consists of all the static stuff like CSS, JavaScript, and all the images and stuff. So we have the API. So we have to think of a few things. What do we want to build? First of all, we need some kind of way to upload image. We need a function to make prediction on the image. We probably in the middle also need a way to save the image. So this step is kind of optional, because if you're uploading something, you can do your predictions on the uploaded stuff, but this is the easiest way. That's why I'm showing you like this. And what else do you need? You don't need anything else, do you? Function to predict the image, and then to show the results. So do you need any kind of endpoint for any of this? Yes, like to upload the image, you need some kind of endpoint, right? So we will start from there. And as a noob, as I said, if I'm a noob, I don't know how to upload images, but you have seen the Flask tutorial in which I build the APIs, like the bird sentiment model. And it's also very highly recommended that you go and take a look at that video if you have not done it yet. So what we are going to do is we are going to search for stuff. Now, what to search for? Okay, so we have to build an endpoint to upload images, and we are using Flask. Upload images using Flask, Python. Okay, so I get a bunch of results. Uploading files with Flask, uploading images with, so I think image is very specific. So what if I change this to uploading file using Flask? Okay, now I get a featured snippet, and you have this link from Flask itself. So it's documentation, and when you read this, it says that you need a form tag with encoding type, multi-part form data, and an input type of file. In that form, and it tells you, okay, you can also use the save method to save the file permanently somewhere on the file system. Okay, that's nice. That's all we need actually. So when you scroll down a bit, you see that there is a function or endpoint to upload the file, and then you see there is some kind of HTML stuff which is as a string, which is returning as a string. So what we can do is we can take this HTML string from here and put it in our index.html. So let's just put it here, and here we have a title, we have h1, we have form method, blah blah blah, and form method post, which is very important. So it's a post request, and you need this because you are having a input type of file. And then there is some name, so let's change the name to something else. Probably just call it image. Type will be file, but name will be image, and value something. Okay, I think we can call it just predict. Now to run this one, it's very easy. So what we do is no, we didn't do anything yet. Okay, so let me close the terminal. Okay, so now we import a few things. So we import from Flask, import Flask, and from Flask import render template, and we initialize the Flask app equal to Flask. So this is all same as the bird sentiment API model, and then we have endpoint app.route, and we say okay, goes to slash. So whenever you type the web address, so that's what this endpoint is. And then you have methods. So we need both get request and post request for this one. So get is for like just accessing the website, and post is for posting stuff on the form. Okay, and then you need a function name. So let's call it upload predict. You can call it anything you want. And what should this function do now? This function should just show me the index.html. So for now it has to do nothing else. So I can just say return render template. Render template will render the templates inside templates folder. Pretty simple. And index.html. And then you have the name main, and you say you run the app. Okay, so we can run it on localhost, so we don't need to change host. Maybe I will change the port, so 12,000, and debug to true. And so debug is true, so it will show us the errors inside the web browser. And now I start a terminal. Okay, and I do python api.py. So it has started running the service on localhost 12,000. So I can just open that. So let me see, follow link. Yeah. So now you can see that we have something. So I'm seeing it on a zoomed version of it. But you have the title, upload new file. So you have the title, upload new file, you have this h1, and then you have the buttons. So if you click on the button, it works. So you can see like you can access your desktop. So you're not seeing the upload the file browser, but it works. So now what we can do is we can just keep it here like this, and now we can make changes in the code and it will refresh automatically. So one more thing about render template is when you render a template, you can send it a argument, any argument. So let's say I'm sending it prediction equal to 0. Okay, and then you go to your HTML, and to display this thing with prediction equal to 0, what you do is you add a new like let's say I add a new h3. Okay, so let me see, I'm not a web developer, and h3. Okay, and here I say prediction equal to the prediction that I got. So the prediction that you got, you can use something called Jinja templates, Jinja 2 or Jinja 2. I don't know how to pronounce it well. JINJA 2. And here I can just write prediction. So this is the prediction variable that I'm getting. So I can also add a line break here. Okay, so now I have this. So when I should go back to my application, I should see some kind of prediction there. So let's see what we get. Okay, now we get prediction 0, which is nice. So we have built our something. We have built something till now. Now the main part starts where we have to get the file itself and save it somewhere. So I want to make this pretty easy for you right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, there is a global variable called upload folder. Okay, so we have the upload folder, and I say that upload it in static. So I'm going to do home or Abhishek. I could just, okay, so this is my folder here, and inside this I have static. So this is my upload folder. So whenever I get a new image, I have to save it here. So let's import a few more things. Import OS for the path.join stuff, and from Flask you also need one more thing called request. So from Flask import request. Okay, and now in upload predict you change it a little bit. So what you have to get is the image file. So new variable image file, and image file will be request dot files and the name that you provided here. So in file you provided image, right? So that will be your image. But this will exist only when its request method is post. So I will say if request dot method is post, then I have to grab this image file. Now the image file may or may not exist, but we are not doing any kind of checks here for now. We are just assuming that it exists. Or you can just do a simple check like if image file, and that's it. And here you can write a little bit more code. So what would the code be? So what we have to do is user uploads an image, so it's a post request, and then clicks on submit. Then it's a post request, and we grab the image file from request.files, and if we have the image file, then we save it. So we can just do image file dot save and save it in a location. So image location will be os.path.join, and here we have upload folder, comma image file. So the name of the image file is stored in file name, I think. So if you print image file name, it will give you the name of the image file. So something.png, something.jpg. And then you have the save method, which will just save it to a given location, image underscore location. Okay, so you got this thing, and I say, okay, if this is a success, then render me the same index.html with prediction equal to 1. Okay, we just want to try this first. So we go to python api.py and let's refresh this. Okay, so what do we have? Let's select one image and click on predict, and it showed me prediction equal to 1. So everything worked. Now it saved the image in the static folder. So here you can see the image is saved here now. So if you're hosting this on anything, AWS or GCP or Heroku, whatever, so anybody can upload and you can save the image in your local virtual machine. So it saved the image. Then now the next step, let me close this one for a while. Now the next step is to create predictions on this image. Now creating predictions it's fun. It's not very difficult, right? We already did that in the last video. So what we need is this model that we had created. So I'm copying this model and I'm pasting the model here. I will change a few things in this model, like I'm changing this model self.model to base model. So that's not a major change, and I'm changing out to L0. So that's not a major change either, because when I train the model locally, I changed a few things. I shouldn't have, but I did. So you got the model, and now you have the model. So let's say here you say model is none, and here you can also set device. So for us, device will be CUDA. Okay, and now the second thing that you need is the predict function. So you have the predict function here. So let's take everything and we will just remove what we don't need. So we have the predict function and we have it here. So what should this predict function do? So we had fold. So instead of fold, we don't want fold. We just want a image path. So just one single image. So now we don't have all these things here. So we just delete it. Do we need the device? No, we don't need the device. We don't need test batch size. We don't need the epochs. Mean and standard deviation is something that you can also put it globally. I'm just keeping it here for now. And you have test images. So test images is a list of image paths, so which will have only one element, and test targets is also targets for test, but we don't have that. So I'm just going to delete it and say target is 0. Now what we have a classification loader which comes from WTFML, and we have test data loader. We have number workers equal to 4. We don't need multiprocessing here because we have only one image, and we can change the batch size to 1. And now we have the model, we have the model to device and all that stuff. So I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to put it here. So I got the model.load state dict model torch.load this thing, and the model name here is model.bin, and it's the same model. So I have to now change this model to capitals because that's how I defined it earlier, and device. So now my predict function does not have model in it, so I can just add model as an argument. So now it should have everything. So it has the test augmentations, Then it has test images, test targets, the classification loader, the torch data loader. So classification loader is not actually data loader, it's the dataset. It should be called classification dataset. I have to change the name. And then you have engine.predict, and it returns predictions. So now what you have here, what you can do here is add like predict pred. Okay, the spread is predict, and here you have image location, comma, because that's where you save the image, and model. Okay, and then we can just do a print here, print pred. But we do need a few more things here, so let's just grab them. We need the imports, so there are way too many imports. So let me see, I will grab all of them and paste it here, arrange it a little bit, not a lot, just arrange it a little bit, and then we should be good to go. Import numpy, and then you don't need pandas. We need this torch.nn.n. We don't need apex, we don't need metrics, we need functional obviously, and then we need WTFML. Okay, we can just add it here, and we need WTFML, which goes in the end. So it's basically alphabetical, and yeah, if it's OS and torch, you import them before everything else, and we don't need early stopping. So I guess this should work. Maybe it will throw an error, but we will see. So we start the terminal and Python api.py. I'm also going to do one more thing, because since now I'm using GPUs, so I'm going to say CUDA visible devices equal to 0. So I have two devices, one of them is busy doing something right now, so I want it to be on device 0. Okay, invalid syntax. Okay, no problem. I think we have one extra bracket. And let's see. So it's trying to do something, and what's it trying to do while taking time? Because it loads the model, and that's also very fast, it's not slow. And then then I have browsed for one image, and I can click on predict. Okay, so the name device is not defined. Obviously the device is not defined, so it should give me in line 79 predict. Okay, so let's see where we have device. So we have device here, we have device here, we have device here, and here it should be capital. Okay, so now it will reload everything, and it's going to restart, and let's see what happens. Let's see. Okay, now we click on browse, select one image, and click on predict. So it shows prediction equal to 1. But if you look at the console, so you can see the prediction here, and it has generated a prediction. One thing that you must note, that in your forward function you did not use sigmoid here, right? So what we can do is we can add a sigmoid on top of this. So I think it's just f.sigmoid. So we add a sigmoid here. Actually, we don't need to calculate the loss, right? So we will just return loss equal to 0. Because it's test anyways. So let's see. We go to python api.py, and then we select the same image. Click on predict. So it was 0.33, now 0.58. Okay, so now you see that now it's a probability between 0 and 1. So if it has skin cancer, then it's 1. So now we got everything, and instead of, you see, this is a array, right? So we only need the 0th element, the first element, and we don't need this. And instead of prediction equal to 1, we can now return thread. So now you will have prediction displayed here. Awesome, you've built everything that you need. But this, obviously this doesn't look very good. It's like, okay, whatever. You don't even see the image, nothing, right? So to now there are many different technologies that you can use. So you can just build an endpoint here and let it return a prediction, and then let your front end handle everything else. So you can write a front end, a back end, another back end, and then which communicates to this endpoint and sends an image and gets a prediction. But obviously I'm not a web developer, so I cannot do that. What I can do is do some simple things. So simple things will be like, okay, when I'm building these kind of web apps, I use something called Bootstrap. Okay, so what is Bootstrap? It's the, like, yeah, it is one of the most popular libraries in the world for HTML, CSS, and JS. So you have all these CSS files and JavaScript files which are already there. So you don't need to make few changes, and then you're done. So what you have to do is go to getbootstrap.com and click on download, and you download this. Click on this download button, and it gives you a zip file with CSS and JS folder. So you take those folders and you copy them in static, and that's what I've done here. These CSS and JS folder come from Bootstrap. And now we search for something else. So we go back and we go to Bootstrap examples. So what are the examples of websites being built with Bootstrap? So you see there are many different kinds of things. You have some kind of landing pricing page. There's a form. There is something else. But this one I like, the sign-in page. So I go to the sign-in page, and this one looks good. Instead of filling email address and password, I need to have an upload button. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see the source of this page. So when you see the source, you see that it has a lot of stuff. Some stuff that we might not need, some stuff that we need. So what I'm going to do is copy everything, and I'm going to go back to my index.html, and let me close this. No, let's keep it open, and I'm going to paste it here. So I got a lot of stuff from this Bootstrap example, and a lot of things I don't need. So I don't need this language thing. So probably I need a cat set. I think this is fine. You can have a description and author. We don't have that. We don't have a small icon thingy, and we have a title. So let's change it to skin cancer detection. We don't need this thing here. We need the CSS file. So you see that they access CSS from this CSS bootstrap min.css, but we have already copied it to static. So what you have to do is change it to /static/css. Okay. And then it has a signin.css. Now if you take a look at your CSS files, you won't find signin.css. So It's a custom CSS file. I'm not an expert in CSS, obviously. I always have to ask others. But so this, when you have to see this one, so you click on signin.css and it shows you the CSS file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this one. So it's the sign in form. So you see this class form sign in, but I'm going to change this to form upload. Okay. And then I'm going to say it's in slash static slash css slash form underscore upload dot css, not from form. Okay, now I go to static css and then I create a new form underscore upload dot css and I copy paste everything. Now it has a lot of things, and in the beginning you might not understand all of it, but it's okay, don't worry about it. So you see that there is a input type password, there is an input type email. I don't need all that stuff because I don't have email and password stuff. Rest everything I can keep. But then there is this name form sign in, and I'm going to change this form sign in to form upload. Okay. Now go back to your index.html. So there is a image that you saw. We don't need that image, so I'm going to delete that. Instead of please sign in, I can say please upload image. And then you have this email address, right? You don't need that either. So I'm going to delete this. And input type, now the type is file, as we have seen previously. I'm going to call it image. I'm also going to add a name like this, like we had before. Name equal to image. Class is same. Placeholder is not required because it doesn't have a text field. And then you have required autofocus. That's fine. It's that we require it, and focus goes on this when we open the page. We don't need the password. We don't need this password thingy either. Then you have a checkbox for remember me. We don't need that. And then we have this button, right? So all these custom classes come from Bootstrap, so they have done a lot of work to make it easy for you guys and for me also. And then I change sign in to predict. I don't have a copyright. So we did all that stuff, and now we try and refresh the page. So now you can see that we got something here. So everything is pretty messed up. And what we are going to do is we also need the prediction part. So I'm going to take this predict part from here and add it here. Okay. Maybe I'm just going to use this class. Maybe I'll just use this class. So it's going to be same kind of style. Do we need anything from this part now? So we got input type, file name, image, and submit values and stuff. We don't need anything else from here. And then we can save this HTML file. And I go back to this one and I refresh it. Okay, now it looks pretty good, right? And let's see if it still works. So I go and browse and select one image and I click on predict, and it didn't work. Okay, no problem, it didn't work. Sometimes things don't work. Okay, so let's go to API. It tells me that Okay, yeah, it is deprecated. I knew that, so I should just use torch.sigmoid here. What else? So it's probably not getting the image. So why it's not getting the image? Now you have to go to the HTML and see why is it not getting the image. So let's see. Did we mess something up? Okay, yeah, so one of the very important things that we messed up is this part. So we need to have that. So form class this, that's fine, and method is post, and you need the encoding type because it's file. Okay, I hope it works now. Let's try. Okay, so I go select a file, click on predict, I'm getting the prediction. But how to make it even better in terms of how it's looking right now is you can also show the user the image, right? So if you remember, you had this image source stuff. So let me see. Here you have this like image class, blah blah blah. It shows this image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to add it, have a break, and you display the prediction and you add the image here. But the image is not always going to exist, right? So if I just run this thing, what will I get? I will get this B image here. But this is not my actual image file. So I also need to okay. So I also need to provide an image inside the API. So here I can say image image file is none. So when you render template without the post request, image file is none. But when you render template with the post request, then image file, or I can say image lock, is image location. And okay, we will use the same image lock. Okay, with Jinja 2 you can also write if statements inside the HTML. Okay, so what we do is we have this thing, curly brackets, and you write percent and if image lock. So if image lock is not none, and you can end it by writing end if. It's not very difficult. So percent and if. So now you have this image and other stuff, and I can put it here. So anything that you put inside if else, you can put HTML inside this if else thing. So if I have image lock, then it will show me the prediction, otherwise it won't. And I go back here, refresh. Okay, it's not running for some reason. Okay, let me run it again. Okay, and then we refresh the page. So let's refresh, and then I select an image. So okay, one thing you saw now, it doesn't say prediction equal to 0 because we don't have the image. And now we select the image, click on predict, and it tells me prediction is this, and it shows the image which is not there right now. So where is the image? The image is in static because that's where we saved it, and you already have the image in this variable called image lock, right? No, it shouldn't be image lock, it should be image name, because we are saving it in static, but we don't need the image location. We just need image file name. So let me fix that. And now you have, I think you have everything that you need. You fix the width and height to, let's say, 256, and go back to your app, refresh it. Okay, so now you're getting the image. So I select another image, click on predict, and you're also getting the prediction. So that's basically it for your first good looking web app. And as you can see, this list looks pretty good. Uh, you have a upload button or browse button to browse images, and then you have a predict button, and it's showing the prediction. So it's a little bit kind of, I would say, responsive. People are going to hate me for that, but this is a simple way in which you can create your own web application. And if you use Bootstrap, you can combine it with your Flask endpoints and Jinja too. There's so much that you can do, and you can build really complicated apps using this, but I would prefer using this only for some kind of prototypes, and then move to other web development technologies, and like ask your web developer friends what you can use. And I'm not a developer, so I'm not very much familiar with everything there. So that's basically it for today's video, and I hope you like it. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing it. And like the video if you like this tutorial, and let your friends know, so share it. And if you have ideas on what should I create tutorials on, so if you want to give me some ideas there, feel free to do so in the comments section, or you can just write me a message on Twitter. And let me know how was it. And uh, I'm planning to build something really cool around this in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned, and thank you very much. Goodbye.